Thank you. Hi there, my name is Kevin, and this is a talk about building a theme engine for filmmakers and developers. I'm going to be talking about some of the goals and decisions that went into the theme engine we're building at VHX, and how these decisions will hopefully be giving developers some interesting options when they develop for our platform. A quick background on myself and what we're doing at VHX. Previously, I was director of engineering at Vimeo, where I worked for about 6 years. Still in the video space, I've now joined some good friends and previous employees from Vimeo at VHX, where we're specifically focusing on direct-to-fan distribution. To us, this means working with filmmakers and artists to sell their work directly from their own website and identity. I'm assuming some of you podcast or have self-published ebooks, so the concept is similar. Artists can now utilize their existing audience and social reach to get their work out there, and this translates into more rights, more money, and more insight into their customers. A few examples of our platform: comedian Aziz Ansari, Sundance films like Dave Grohl's Sound City, who we got to party with at Sundance. It's a pretty sweet job perk. Another Sundance film, Indie Game the Movie. It's a great developer movie, by the way, so check it out if you haven't. And just a few quick screenshots of our platform, the analytics we offer our filmmakers. Quick glance at the theme engine, which we'll demo in a little bit, and so on. OK, so some product goals early on. From a product perspective, we had some goals of our own, but also some standards to be met. Everyone at our company are personally big fans of Tumblr, and they set the bar really high with their theming engine. And even more interesting is their marketplace around that theming engine. So a model where developers can make themes. There's even businesses that are focused on creating themes to sell on Tumblr. And it's a model that really contributes back to the main goal of the site, and something we think that works. So on a very basic level, what VHX is looking to do is accomplish the theming capabilities of a Tumblr or Shopify, but add video and e-commerce baked in. So looking at some engineering goals, as developers ourselves, we wanted an awesome developer ecosystem around these themes. Like I just said, if we think there is a great developer environment for VHX, then developers will inherently contribute to these filmmakers and artists and their distributing needs. So some of these goals, something I'm personally a fan of is striving to build something simple at its core. Find it helps a product as it evolves and scales and helps decisions along the way. And as I mentioned, shoot to build something different and fun. Our first goal as developers and users of Tumblr was we saw some of the challenges of working in these online editors. So it's something we offer, but we said earlier on it'd be pretty sweet to work offline and in our own environment. So I think most of you will agree we're almost comfortable in our own development environment. So to have this kind of flexibility with a service like an online theming engine could be a pretty cool add-on. Additionally, I personally wanted server-side rendering for the production environment for things like rendering performance, ability to cache or pre-render a site, have theme validation and specs in place, address accessibility and no JavaScript concerns, and lastly, load a page in its rendered state for SEO, which is pretty important for our model, which is these artists self-marketing and getting their work out there. So given our client and server-side rendering needs, we turned to Mustache. It's been around a long time and implemented in a lot of languages, very mature library. Specifically included Ruby and JavaScript, which covered our environment. So I'm assuming some or most of you are familiar, but if not, the quick gist is given an object of key values and a template that references those keys and values, calling Mustache render will render the expected output. So you see just a quick example of Mustache in Ruby. It's just kind of also a minimal version of what our theme engine calls, but it's kind of the gist of that. Same kind of situation in the JavaScript implementation. I'll get more into how we're transferring this responsibility to both sides, but kind of see we store some templates and variables in JavaScript, and then same kind of deal. We could render individual templates with the JavaScript Mustache. I think although Mustache is like very simple and can considered to have a lot of limitations, I found embracing them along the development path is like enforce good standards, help simplify problems and decisions as they've come up. So let's do a quick demo just to give you some context. This resolution's not horrible. Oh no, I don't know how to share it. Okay, forget that. Basically, it looks like that. On the left, this is all dynamically powered and rendered from this Mustache data, which I'll show you in a bit. So we have keys for like color and image and text and option. So for example, if you had like color.mainText, we render those color pickers. If you have like image.features, we know to render images and uploaders and so on for text fields and selects and checkboxes. Demo would have been nicer, but this right side is an iframe. It's initially rendered on the Ruby side, so fully rendered on page load. In addition, we are doing kind of what I was doing in that last example of transferring responsibility and storing these templates on the client side, this data object, and changing a value on the left side, like that first main text color, for example, can send a postMessage to the iframe with just that key value that's being updated in the object, and then completely re-render on the front end with the JavaScript Mustache implementation. So you get instant feedback as you're editing within the online editor. So looking how this works, pretty simple architecture. A site is themable with many themes. One is the published production version. One is a working draft. So in that demo, if we were making changes that wouldn't affect what's in production and what people are potentially purchasing on or watching a video. And then we also have a concept of versioning. So for these working drafts, you could do undos, you can do rollbacks, and that sort of thing. A theme itself, the theme model stores the Mustache templates needed for a site, so specifically ones for the HTML, style sheet, and JavaScript. A site then uses these templates and variables merged with any variables a site may have specifically customized. So theme may have the default background color of black, but a site can override that with red without affecting this master shared theme across sites. Here's an example of what like a final merged object would look like. So you could see some of these references I talked about with color and image and options. And then we also auto-inject active record data. So in this Aziz Ansari example, there's a site data, there's a package he's selling, his comedy special for $5. We also merge in per request data. So whether this current user is logged in, whether he's maybe geo-blocked or whether he's purchased the product or not. If rendering in JavaScript, we could that is the object that would go into the Mustache render. If it's the Ruby side, it's basically the theme engine extends Mustache, which is just a class. And then using metaprogramming, we can define methods for all these keys and values, and then do the same thing on the Ruby side. OK, so although simple, our current engine is pretty interesting at this point. So we have separation of our data and presentation. We have portable rendering engines, one via Ruby Mustache, one via JavaScript. And seeing how we're able to use the client-side implementation for live previewing, which you would have seen in the demo, we really start to see the power of this separation from Mustache. So moving forward, the plan is to offer a completely local dev environment in addition to this online editor. So it's basically the gist of that. So like we were transferring responsibility to JavaScript for the editor, we could offer an offline theme pack with these templates, the variables, any local assets, and then with a small script, coordinate the rendering of the theme with JavaScript Mustache. Future plans, we're looking to polish this local development environment and workflow. Look to extend Mustache with handlebars. OK. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.